Moonlight spilled across the jagged peaks of the Afghan mountains, casting long, eerie shadows over the valley below. The air was thin and bitterly cold, biting through the SEALs' layered uniforms and cutting at their exposed skin. Each breath was measured, shallow to conserve energy, yet the rhythm of their movements remained precise. The mission was supposed to be straightforward. Insert quietly, locate high-value targets suspected of planning attacks on U.S. forces, gather intel, and extract without leaving a trace. That plan, however, had already begun to unravel. The team moved like shadows over rocky terrain, their boots crunching quietly against gravel, careful not to alert anyone to their presence. Every member carried not only weapons, but also an invisible weight of responsibility. Lives depended on their skill, on their decisions in the split seconds that mattered. Their commander, Lieutenant Jackson, signaled subtle hand gestures, each movement rehearsed in countless simulations. They were a small team, elite, trained to handle scenarios that would cripple ordinary soldiers. Yet as the darkness pressed around them, even their confidence met its test. Ahead, the valley opened into a narrow canyon lined with jagged boulders and sparse scrub. According to intelligence reports, the insurgents were few, disorganized, and unprepared for a confrontation. Jackson motioned to slow pace, the team fanning out in a tactical formation, scanning every shadow and overhang for signs of movement. Night vision goggles glimmered faintly in the darkness, illuminating patches of terrain that otherwise seemed featureless. Silence enveloped them, broken only by the faint hum of wind and the occasional rock tumble, a stark contrast to the chaos that would soon erupt. Suddenly, the first shots rang out. A burst of AK-47 fire ricocheted off the canyon walls, throwing sparks into the night. Bullets sliced through the air like liquid fire, and the SEALs dropped instinctively, rolling behind boulders for cover. The first instinct was disbelief. The intel had not indicated enemy presence in this sector. Automatic fire continued in harsh, staccato bursts, shattering the calm and forcing the team into a defensive posture. A soldier cried out, not from injury, but from the shock of proximity too close to the killing zones of the canyon. Jackson's voice came in short, clipped commands. Suppressive fire left. Medic cover. Team Delta, flank right. Every SEAL responded without hesitation. Ammunition was finite, every shot calculated to maximize disruption of enemy fire. They had trained for ambushes, but the reality of being caught in a crossfire pinned against rocks, high walls looming on either side, was a different kind of terror. Heart rates surged, hands gripped triggers, and every nerve screamed at them to survive. They were professionals, yet adrenaline made muscles tense like wires about to snap. The medic, Corporal Reyes, immediately assessed the first casualty. Private Tanner, grazed in the shoulder. A quick tourniquet, bandage, and whispered reassurance were administered in seconds. The team had practiced medics drills countless times, but the reality of blood, pain, and enemy fire simultaneously made the procedure feel heavier, more urgent. Reyes worked under duress, murmuring short phrases, each one a lifeline to maintain morale. Tanner grimaced, but held his position, weapon ready. Every SEAL knew that even the smallest lapse could be fatal. The canyon amplified every sound, every shout, every movement. Shouts from insurgents echoed off the walls, giving away positions, yet confusing the SEALs about enemy numbers. Jackson squinted through his night vision scope, identifying muzzle flashes. They were in a valley, surrounded, with attackers positioned on higher ridges and behind rock formations. Their strategy was simple for the enemy. Use superior positioning, let the SEALs exhaust themselves, and close in for the kill. Jackson's mind raced. How could a team trained for near-impossible scenarios turn the tables with limited ammunition and energy? Above, unseen, a bird of prey screeched, its cry swallowed by gunfire. The seals ducked instinctively. Someone in the team whispered a grim acknowledgement. High ground advantage. Our worst nightmare. Each member felt the crushing weight of the terrain. Mountains, so often symbols of endurance and majesty, had become a cage. The enemy had the natural advantage, and the SEALs had to rely on strategy, training, and luck. Jackson recalibrated their approach in his mind. Suppress enemy fire, move closer to cover, and seek angles that might allow a tactical withdrawal. Survival depended on patience, stealth, and cold calculation. Sweat prickled under the helmets, mixing with the dust and grit kicked up by ongoing firefights. Muscles screamed with tension as the team maintained low positions, crawling, pivoting, and firing as needed. Every shot needed to count. Every movement could be observed. Tanner winced, his shoulder throbbing, yet remained focused. Even injuries had to be secondary to the mission. Survive long enough to call in support. The team's cohesion was palpable. Each knew the other's next moves instinctively, as if their minds were sensed in a single tactical consciousness. In the chaos, Jackson glimpsed a shadow darting across the ridge line above. Could it be an enemy sniper? Or merely the trick of moonlight against jagged terrain? Seconds felt like hours. The team's eyes scanned relentlessly, anticipating a headshot or a rifle aimed with lethal precision. The canyon offered no safety. Every angle was potential danger. Jackson made the decision to hold position, suppress as best as possible, and conserve ammo. They couldn't afford to panic, not yet. Training dictated action, not fear, and every SEAL embodied that mantra as they pushed against instinctual terror. Minutes dragged on. The enemy's initial fury began to taper, yet they were far from gone. Jackson signaled a slight shift, a crawl toward a more defensible rock formation. Tanner followed, Reyes steadying him. Team members provided cover, firing in controlled bursts, forcing the enemy to hesitate. The canyon became a chessboard of shadows, bullets, and reflexes. Every decision was critical, every step calculated against the potential of a fatal strike. The SEALs, though cornered, retained composure, experience, and mental discipline, a shield against overwhelming odds. The air was thick with tension, dust, smoke, and the acrid smell of spent gunpowder. Jackson's mind toggled between tactical assessment and immediate survival. Check ammo, cover all flanks, stabilize the wounded, maintain communication. Each SEAL functioned as a unit, yet individual skill mattered. A misstep, a wrong decision, and they would become casualties. As gunfire subsided slightly, the valley seemed to hold its breath. Time stretched, slow and torturous, each moment an eternity for those pinned against death. Yet in that pause, they found a fragile clarity. They could survive, if only they held until reinforcements arrived. Jackson scanned the surrounding terrain, mapping enemy positions, estimating numbers, and assessing escape routes. The SEALs' perimeter tightened slightly, yet they remained dangerously exposed. Every shadow could conceal an attacker, every ridge a potential threat. Tanner's breathing was labored. Rhea's hands shook slightly, but the team pressed on, advancing inch by inch. Their mission, once clear and simple, had evolved into pure survival. Yet there was something unspoken among them. A refusal to yield, a commitment to one another that transcended fear, instinct, or even the odds stacked against them. Hours might have passed, or perhaps minutes. The night distorted all perception of time. The canyon held echoes of gunfire and shouts, every sound amplified by jagged walls. Jackson's eyes never wavered. He calculated every movement, weighing risk against reward. Behind him, his team mirrored his focus. Each SEAL embodied discipline, skill, and courage honed over years. As dawn began to hint at the horizon, a sliver of hope pierced the darkness. Somewhere out there, a solution awaited backup, air support, or perhaps an unexpected ally. For now, the SEALs endured, cornered but unbroken, the night stretching into a crucible that would test them to the limit. And somewhere above the valley, hidden in shadows, eyes watched the unfolding chaos. Unseen, calculating, waiting for the exact moment. A presence that could tip the scales, save lives, or rewrite the outcome entirely. The SEALs did not know it yet, but survival might arrive not through their own weapons, but through a silent guardian perched in the mountains above, a phantom whose skill would soon turn despair into hope. Until then, the night held them tight in its deadly grip, a test of courage, patience, and unwavering discipline. The first light of dawn had yet to reach the canyon floor, but the fight showed no signs of slowing. Smoke from the SEALs' grenades lingered in thick swirls, mixing with dust kicked up by gunfire and footsteps. The enemy had positioned themselves along the high ridges and behind jagged boulders, taking full advantage of every natural barrier. Automatic fire cracked across the canyon, echoing off the walls with deafening resonance. The SEALs, pinned against the rocky slopes, moved methodically, crawling low and keeping their weapons trained on targets even as bullets whistled dangerously close. Corporal Reyes, the medic, stayed alert to every movement while keeping Private Tanner stabilized. Tanner's shoulder wound throbbed painfully, but adrenaline and sheer willpower kept him fighting. Reyes murmured low, calm reassurances, fingers working quickly over bandages and tourniquets. "You've got this, Tanner." "Just a little longer," she whispered, voice steady despite the chaos. Around them, the team pressed forward in short, calculated bursts. Every SEAL had a role covering fire, suppression, spotting enemy positions, and advancing wounded teammates. Training had prepared them for this, but the brutality of real combat tested every instinct, every reflex, every ounce of mental toughness. Lieutenant Jackson's eyes scanned constantly, mapping enemy positions, assessing the safest path forward, calculating angles of fire, and estimating numbers. The insurgents had them corralled, funneling the team toward the canyon's narrowest point, a deadly chokehold that could trap them completely. Jackson signaled hand gestures to split the team, some remaining behind to provide suppressive fire, while others edged forward to take advantage of the terrain. Every movement was measured. One wrong step could expose them to a deadly shot from above. Sweat stung their eyes as they crawled over loose rock, keeping low and moving as silently as possible under the deafening noise. From above, the first hints of movement betrayed the enemy's own anxiety. Leaders barked orders, gesturing violently to their fighters, some of whom were inexperienced and terrified. Cracks in the enemy formation began to appear. Jackson's mind noted every weakness, storing them for future exploitation. "Hold positions," he muttered. "Suppress and flank. Don't rush." The team responded instantly, their training making them extensions of his mind, limbs executing commands without question. As the sun threatened to breach the horizon, light began to filter into the canyon, casting long shadows over the jagged rocks. Visibility increased, but so did danger. Bullets continued to strike close, shattering rocks and throwing dust into the air, reducing visibility even further. Tanner grimaced, gritting his teeth through the pain in his shoulder as he dragged himself along. With help from Reyes, the medic's hands moved quickly, wrapping bandages tightly while keeping watch for stray rounds. Every SEAL moved with disciplined urgency, crawling, pivoting, and firing only when necessary to conserve ammunition. Each breath felt precious, each heartbeat amplified by adrenaline. The canyon had become a crucible, testing both physical endurance and mental fortitude. They were alive, but survival was far from guaranteed. Suddenly, a flare of movement caught Jackson's eye a shadow on the ridgeline, far above the valley. He froze momentarily, assessing. Could it be a sniper? A sentry? Or perhaps merely the shifting shadows of rocks in the wind? The SEALs held position, eyes trained upward. Every instinct screamed caution. Jackson signaled the team to remain low, suppress fire where possible, and prepare for a potential counterattack from above. Time seemed to slow. Bullets ricocheted around them, a constant reminder that death could strike in an instant. Sweat ran down faces, but the team's focus remained absolute. While the SEALs fought below, the enemy attempted to regroup. Confusion spread as their leader, a tall, burly man with a scar running down his cheek, barked orders. His soldiers hesitated, unsure where the shots came from that had felled their comrades. The insurgents were brave, but not disciplined. Panic began to erode their effectiveness. Jackson recognized the moment as critical. If the team could survive the next few minutes, they could exploit the enemy's disarray to reclaim control of the canyon floor. Strategy over chaos, patience over panic was their only hope. Reyes administered first aid with a practiced calm, stabilizing Tanner while scanning for threats. "Keep moving," she whispered, more to bolster morale than instruction. Around her, SEALs shifted positions, taking advantage of new cover as dust and smoke obscured the enemy's view. Jackson's tactical mind raced through options, calculating distances, trajectories, and possible escape routes. The SEALs were trained to survive under the worst conditions, yet each battle demanded adaptability. Even the most experienced soldiers had to contend with the unpredictability of human behavior under fear. One false move and everything could collapse in an instant. As the firefight stretched into its third hour, energy began to drain from both sides. Sweat soaked through uniforms. Muscles screamed with fatigue, and mental strain gnawed at their focus. The SEALs remained disciplined, their training a shield against the creeping terror. They moved as one, executing complex maneuvers under fire, suppressive fire, repositioning, flanking, and covering injured teammates. Every SEAL understood the stakes. There was no margin for error. Survival was not just personal, it was a collective responsibility. Each man's life depended on every other's skill, vigilance, and courage. The canyon demanded total commitment. Then came the subtle, almost imperceptible change. From high above, a single crack sounded. It was different from the insurgents' automatic fire, a precise, controlled shot that dropped a figure mid-command. Chaos erupted. The enemy shouted, scattered, and froze in disbelief. The SEALs caught sight of the flash from the rifle, quick, lethal, and calculated. A sniper had arrived. Jackson's heart lifted, hope flickering like a flame in the darkness. The team pressed forward cautiously, knowing the unseen ally above was beginning to shift the balance. Their survival, which had once seemed purely a matter of luck and endurance, was now intertwined with this silent guardian. The sniper's presence introduced an unexpected rhythm to the battle. Shots were precise, disrupting enemy movements and forcing them to rethink their positions. The SEALs moved in concert with the sniper's strikes, taking advantage of temporary gaps in the enemy's line. Dust and smoke continued to obscure the battlefield, but now the chaos worked in their favor. Every well-placed shot from above created openings, and the team exploited them with disciplined efficiency. Morale, previously strained by the ambush, began to climb. Hope and adrenaline combined, fueling their movements and focus. Survival now felt possible, though still far from certain. Minutes stretched like hours. Every step, every shot, and every decision carried the weight of life and death. Jackson communicated silently with gestures, directing the team towards slightly better cover while conserving energy and ammunition. Tanner's shoulder remained painful, yet he fought through it, relying on Reyes' support. Every SEAL, from the youngest recruit to the seasoned veteran, moved as part of a living, breathing machine designed to survive and adapt. They were professionals, yet still human, acutely aware of the fragility of life. Yet even amidst this terrifying ordeal, they found clarity, resilience, and an unbreakable sense of duty. The insurgents, meanwhile, struggled to adapt to this invisible threat from the ridge above. Shots continued to strike unexpectedly, taking out key positions and leaders, creating confusion and panic. Their formations broke down, some fighters retreating to makeshift cover, others frozen in indecision. The canyon, once a death trap, became a battlefield of opportunity. The SEALs, using the chaos to their advantage, began to regain control over their environment. Every move was deliberate, every shot measured. The sniper's presence remained unseen, but unmistakably felt, a lethal, silent force guiding the team toward survival. By now, the SEALs had moved several meters closer to relative safety. Dust and smoke mixed with the fading chill of night, creating an otherworldly haze over the battlefield. Jackson surveyed the scene with unflinching eyes. He calculated positions, distances, and timings with professional precision. Around him, the team functioned like a well-oiled machine, covering each other, treating the wounded, and neutralizing threats. Fatigue weighed heavily, but they could not stop. The canyon demanded focus, patience, and resilience. Each second survived was a small victory. Each enemy neutralized a step toward the fragile promise of dawn and extraction. And above it all, unseen yet undeniable, the sniper continued to watch, calculating, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. The SEALs did not yet know the identity of their ally, but they would come to understand in time that the mountain held a guardian who had changed the course of the battle. Until that moment, the SEALs relied on their training, instincts, and sheer willpower to navigate the deadly canyon. The fight raged on, every heartbeat a reminder of the precariousness of life and the relentless pursuit of survival. High above the valley, the lone sniper lay perfectly still, hidden within a meticulously crafted ghillie suit that blended seamlessly with the jagged rocks and scrubby brush of the mountainside. For hours he had observed the valley below, his eyes scanning every crevice, every shadow, every flicker of movement. The SEALs, already engaged in a desperate firefight, were barely visible from his vantage point, but the sniper could pick out key details: the positions of the team, the wounded, and the advancing enemy. Each breath he took was measured, controlled, the cold air filling his lungs without disturbing his aim. He had been assigned Overwatch days before the mission, trekking silently across ridges and cliffs that had claimed less experienced soldiers. Each step had been deliberate, each rock tested before being used as footing. Now, perched high above the chaos, he understood the gravity of his role. The team below was surrounded, outnumbered, and in imminent danger. The valley, with its steep walls and narrow passages, was the perfect trap, and the enemy had planned it meticulously. But he, the sniper, had been planning too, his every calculation precise, every shot anticipated, every move designed to turn the tide. The first target was clear: the enemy commander, a large man with a scar across his cheek, shouting orders to his disorganized troops. With a single adjustment of his scope, the sniper accounted for wind, distance, and elevation. He exhaled slowly, squeezing the trigger. The crack of the rifle echoed across the mountains like thunder, and the enemy leader collapsed, his body thudding against rock-strewn earth. The insurgents froze in shock, their morale shaken as confusion rippled through their ranks. The SEALs below barely had time to react, eyes catching the flash of the distant shot. Hope flared, a dangerous, fragile hope. Another shot followed seconds later. A second insurgent dropped, rifle clattering to the dust. Panic set in. The sniper worked methodically, never firing from the same exact spot twice, blending seamlessly with the terrain. He was the ghost of the mountain, unseen yet undeniably present. Each shot was calculated, deliberate, precise. Below, The SEALs recognized the opportunity. Lieutenant Jackson signaled forward cautiously, taking advantage of the confusion among the enemy ranks. The team advanced slowly, methodically, every step measured, every movement synchronized with the sniper's unseen rhythm. The insurgents attempted to respond, firing blindly into the ridge above, but the sniper shifted imperceptibly, evading their aim. His understanding of the terrain, combined with years of field experience, allowed him to remain invisible while controlling the battlefield below. He moved silently, almost like a shadow sliding over the rocks, each adjustment barely perceptible. His eyes, trained to detect even the smallest movement, never left the SEALs or the enemy. Every decision he made could mean life or death for the men below, and he carried that responsibility with absolute focus. From the canyon floor, Jackson observed the change in momentum. Enemy fire had become erratic, undisciplined, unpredictable. The SEALs pressed forward under cover, using the chaos to reclaim ground. Corporal Reyes stabilized Tanner while other team members provided cover fire, their suppressed weapons echoing against canyon walls. Dust and smoke created fleeting concealment, giving the team temporary advantages. The sniper's shots disrupted enemy formations, forcing them to reposition in panic. Jackson allowed himself a brief glance toward the ridge, his mind aware of the invisible ally above. He did not know who it was, or if he could trust that the sniper would continue, but for now, the tide was turning. The sniper's calculations were relentless. Every shot accounted for distance, wind, gravity, and the movement of his target. He adjusted his position frequently, always remaining concealed, avoiding repetition that could reveal him. He eliminated threats that directly threatened the SEALs' first enemy shooters, positioned to pin the team down, snipers hidden in overhangs, and anyone attempting to flank the SEALs. His presence transformed the battlefield from a near-certain ambush into a contested fight. Below, Jackson and his team sensed the change in control, but could only guess at its source. The sniper remained a mystery, a phantom with deadly accuracy. The enemy commander's death had thrown the insurgents into chaos, and the SEALs seized the moment. Crawling forward, using boulders for cover, they advanced cautiously, every shot purposeful. The medic worked with practiced calm, stabilizing wounded while keeping an eye on threats. The team moved like a single organism, each member anticipating the other's movements. Every action was deliberate, measured, and coordinated. The sniper above provided an unseen rhythm, his shots dictating enemy movements and creating pockets of safety for the SEALs to exploit. Slowly, painstakingly, they began to regain control over the valley floor. Time stretched, each second pregnant with risk. The sniper, high above, remained focused, scanning the canyon for any threats not yet neutralized. He adjusted for the rising sun, the shifting wind, and the movements of the insurgents, ensuring that each shot remained precise. A young fighter attempted to climb a ridge to get a better angle on the SEALs. A single crack echoed, and the man dropped, eliminated before he could act. The insurgents' panic intensified as their numbers dwindled, their formation fractured beyond repair. The canyon, once a trap, became a theater of chaos directed by a hidden master of marksmanship. Jackson recognized the sniper's timing. Every pause, every opportunity was exploited. He signaled the team to shift again, moving closer to relative safety while keeping suppression on remaining threats. Dust and smoke mingled, creating an almost surreal battlefield where visibility was fleeting and every movement mattered. Each SEAL functioned with heightened awareness, nerves taut, muscles coiled, yet executing commands with near-perfect precision. The sniper above dictated the pace without words, a silent orchestrator shaping the battlefield. Jackson's mind noted the coordination instinctively, a mix of relief and awe at the unseen hand guiding their survival. The insurgents tried to regroup, barking orders, gesturing wildly, but confusion ruled. Some fighters froze, unsure whether to advance or retreat. Others haphazardly took cover behind rocks, hoping their luck would hold. The sniper continued to pick off key targets, ensuring that panic remained constant and enemy fire ineffective. The SEALs exploited the gaps, moving forward cautiously, systematically clearing obstacles and providing medical aid to the wounded. The synergy between the sniper and the SEALs created a lethal feedback loop, a combination of precision and strategy that shifted the ambush into an increasingly survivable engagement. Hours passed. The canyon, once echoing with unrelenting gunfire, now reverberated with sporadic, desperate shots from an increasingly demoralized enemy. Jackson took a brief pause behind a massive boulder, scanning the horizon, calculating next moves. Tanner, though exhausted and injured, remained operational, the medic whispering encouragement as they adjusted his bandages. Every SEAL, though fatigued, moved with discipline, awareness sharpened by danger. The sniper above remained unseen but undeniably present, an invisible guardian controlling the rhythm of battle with unmatched precision. Each shot reshaped the battlefield, each target eliminated, reducing the threat to the SEALs below. From his perch, the sniper watched every movement, not just of the enemy, but of the team he protected. His scope captured moments otherwise invisible. A glance between teammates, a subtle hand gesture, the careful coordination of suppressive fire and movement. His mind synchronized with theirs without direct communication, a silent partnership forged in necessity. Every shot had a purpose, every repositioning a strategy. The SEALs were alive because he was there, and every choice he made carried the weight of responsibility for their lives. The mountain, harsh and unforgiving, had become both shield and weapon in his hands. By mid-morning, the insurgents' morale had completely eroded. Their formations shattered, key fighters eliminated. They attempted to retreat deeper into the canyon, but the sniper's shots continued to guide the SEALs' movements. Jackson directed the team cautiously, clearing pockets of resistance while keeping wounded safe. Dust and smoke continued to obscure the battlefield, adding layers of confusion for the enemy. The sniper's presence remained unseen, yet the effects were unmistakable. Below, the SEALs began to regain momentum, reclaiming territory and stabilizing the situation. Hope replaced panic, focus replaced fear, and every action was amplified by the invisible support from above. As the day progressed, the canyon transformed from a death trap into a contested battlefield where survival became achievable. The sniper, high above, continued his vigilant watch, every shot calculated to maintain control and disrupt enemy cohesion. The SEALs moved systematically, recovering lost ground, tending to the injured, and eliminating remaining threats. Each step forward was hard-won, each breath a victory. The hidden sniper, a ghost in the mountains, shaped the outcome without ever revealing himself. Below, the SEALs fought with renewed vigor, their awareness sharpened, their movements precise, their hope rekindled. For now, survival was within reach, but the battle was far from over. The crack of rifle fire still echoed faintly across the canyon, but the rhythm of the battle had changed. What once had been a deadly ambush had shifted into a battle for control, and the SEALs sensed the shift immediately. Lieutenant Jackson's eyes scanned constantly, taking in every movement of the remaining insurgents, noting their scattered formations and erratic firing patterns. The sniper above, perched like a phantom on the jagged ridge, dictated the battlefield without ever revealing his presence. Every shot from above disrupted enemy coordination, forcing hasty movements, panic, and fatal mistakes. Jackson signaled his team forward cautiously, seizing the advantage with precision. The SEALs advanced with painstaking care, every step measured and synchronized. Corporal Reyes continued stabilizing Tanner, whose shoulder wound throbbed with every movement. Yet Tanner remained operational, his weapon trained on approaching enemies. Each shot fired with painstaking accuracy, despite pain and fatigue. The team moved as one, a coordinated force, using rocks, dust, and shadows for cover. Every movement was deliberate, every shot calculated to conserve ammunition while maximizing suppression. The canyon, once a trap, became a chessboard where strategy, patience, and skill defined the survivors. Jackson, observing both his team and enemy, orchestrated the advance like a conductor guiding a complex symphony. Above, the sniper adjusted his position, blending seamlessly with the natural environment. A slight shift of a hand, a careful change in posture, and he became invisible once again. His eyes scanned for threats, measuring wind speed, adjusting for elevation, calculating trajectories to account for the canyon's uneven surfaces. Each shot was deliberate, eliminating the most dangerous threats. First enemy shooters, positioned to pin down the SEALs, insurgents attempting to flank, and those advancing recklessly. With each impact, the enemy's morale crumbled further, and the SEALs found breathing room. Dust clouds rose where bullets struck rocks, masking movements and giving the team fleeting opportunities to reposition. One of the insurgents, braver or more desperate than the rest, attempted to climb a ridge to gain a superior vantage point. The sniper's finger tightened on the trigger, eyes narrowing. Calculating the distance, wind, and elevation, he fired. The insurgent fell silently, his body slumping against a jagged outcrop. The remaining fighters hesitated, uncertainty overtaking their previous aggression. The canyon, which had seemed like a death trap hours earlier, now offered hope. Jackson motioned his team forward, exploiting every opening created by the sniper. The team advanced, bullets ricocheting off rocks, dust and smoke swirling, adrenaline fueling every calculated movement. Corporal Reyes's hands moved quickly, stabilizing Tanner's bandages while keeping vigilant watch on potential threats. Even with his injury, Tanner advanced, a grim determination etched across his face. The other SEALs covered him, their suppressive fire keeping the enemy pinned while ensuring no shots endangered their wounded comrade. Jackson's tactical mind coordinated every movement, reading the enemy's reactions and predicting their next steps. The sniper above remained unseen, yet his influence shaped the battlefield. The team felt a rhythm in their advance, each motion guided by a silent, invisible presence, a ghostly partner in survival. The insurgents attempted to regroup, but panic and confusion hindered coordination. Some tried to return fire from behind cover, others fled into the canyon's shadows. Each time they repositioned, the sniper adjusted, calculating angles and distances, eliminating threats that could threaten the SEALs. The canyon, once echoing with unrelenting gunfire, now pulsed with sporadic, desperate shots from an increasingly demoralized enemy. Jackson recognized the opportunity. Patience had created openings, and every opening could be exploited. The SEALs advanced carefully, clearing pockets of resistance, keeping the injured safe, and taking advantage of the chaos a sniper had orchestrated. Sweat, dust, and smoke combined in a suffocating haze as the SEALs pressed forward. Muscles screamed with exhaustion, minds strained under pressure, yet focus remained unbroken. Jackson's commands were subtle hand signals, gestures that each SEAL instinctively understood. They moved like a single entity, coordinated and precise, a living mechanism forged for survival under fire. Each shot, each step, each breath was measured against the deadly potential of the canyon. Above them, the sniper adjusted to every new threat, every attempted flank by the insurgents. His presence remained invisible, yet his impact was undeniable. Minutes stretched, each moment pregnant with danger. The SEALs advanced slowly, inching closer to more defensible terrain. Reyes checked Tanner again, ensuring he could continue to participate in the fight. Every member of the team understood the stakes. One misstep, one miscalculation could be fatal. Yet the sniper above created a layer of protection, a rhythm to the battle that turned chaos into opportunity. Jackson's mind raced, considering extraction points, angles of retreat, and paths to safety. Every move, however small, was vital. The SEALs adapted, flowing with the rhythm imposed by their unseen ally, trusting the precision of his strikes. The insurgents' desperation intensified. They fired wildly into cover, attempting to locate the hidden sniper, but he shifted position subtly, evading detection. Every attempt to locate him failed, and each mistake cost them lives. Panic spread, eroding discipline and coherence. Jackson seized the moment, signaling his team forward. They moved from rock to rock, inching closer to relative safety while continuing to suppress enemy fire. The sniper's shots provided intermittent protection, each precise hit dictating enemy behavior, creating openings for the SEALs to exploit. The battlefield became a dynamic interplay of movement, calculation, and survival instinct. By mid-morning, the SEALs had advanced several hundred meters, a hard-won gain facilitated by the sniper's presence. Dust and smoke obscured visibility, but the team had adapted to the rhythm, moving in concert while maintaining cover and protecting the wounded. Jackson observed every movement, noting enemy weaknesses, predicting their actions, and coordinating team responses. Every SEAL functioned at the peak of skill, their training a lifeline amidst chaos. Above them, the sniper continued his lethal oversight, a silent guardian ensuring the SEALs remained one step ahead, transforming a near-certain ambush into a contest of precision and survival. The insurgents' morale disintegrated further with each well-placed shot from above. Leaders were eliminated, key shooters neutralized, and those attempting to reposition were systematically removed. The canyon, which had seemed like an inescapable trap, now offered glimpses of hope. Jackson's team moved in careful synchrony, using dust, smoke, and shadows for cover while advancing toward stronger positions. Every SEAL knew the stakes, every movement deliberate, every shot counted. The sniper above dictated the pace without words, a phantom orchestrating a symphony of controlled chaos, where each note determined life or death below. Hours passed in tense, meticulous progression. The SEALs consolidated their position, tending to wounded, securing cover, and neutralizing lingering threats. Every movement was executed with precision, guided by instincts honed through years of training and shaped by the sniper's unseen influence. The canyon floor, once dominated by enemy fire, became increasingly controlled by the SEALs. Dust swirled, smoke lingered, and the sniper adjusted continuously, maintaining pressure and forcing the insurgents into mistakes. Jackson recognized the moment as critical. The battle had shifted. What had begun as a deadly ambush had transformed into a contest where skill, coordination, and unseen precision offered a tangible chance of survival. As the sun rose higher, casting sharper shadows across the canyon, the SEALs continued their methodical advance. The sniper, from his concealed perch, remained the invisible hand shaping the battlefield. His eyes scanned constantly, calculating trajectories, adjusting for environmental factors, and targeting the most dangerous threats. The enemy, fragmented and demoralized, could not regain cohesion. Each shot reinforced the SEALs' advantage, providing fleeting opportunities to advance while keeping the injured safe. Jackson observed the impact of this unseen support, grateful yet focused. Survival required continuous discipline, relentless focus, and absolute trust in training, and now, a phantom ally high above. The SEAL's rhythm synchronized with the sniper's precision. Crawling, firing, stabilizing wounded, and reclaiming territory became a coordinated sequence dictated by instinct, training, and unseen intervention. The insurgents faltered under pressure, firing indiscriminately, often to no effect. The canyon, once a trap, had become a theater of strategic advantage for the SEALs. Each movement, Each breath, each shot mattered. Above, the sniper adjusted his position imperceptibly, blending seamlessly with the terrain while maintaining a deadly influence. Below, the SEALs pressed forward with determination, inching closer to safety while neutralizing the remaining threat. The tide of battle had irrevocably shifted. By mid-afternoon, the SEALs had made significant gains. They had stabilized the battlefield, eliminated numerous threats, and ensured that Tanner remained operational. Dust and smoke created a surreal haze over the canyon, but visibility improved as insurgent forces faltered. Jackson assessed positions, prepared for extraction, and ensured that every team member remained aware and ready. The sniper above, a ghostly sentinel, continued to dictate the battlefield with precise, lethal efficiency. What had begun as an ambush had transformed into a dynamic engagement where control, skill, and unseen precision determined survival. Every SEAL moved with renewed focus, guided by instinct and invisible support. The canyon floor trembled with the echo of gunfire, though the pace of the battle had slowed slightly. The insurgents, demoralized and disorganized, scrambled desperately for cover. Jackson's SEAL team had gained a foothold in the valley, yet the fight was far from over. Every step forward was measured, calculated, and deliberate. Dust rose from the rocks beneath their feet as they crawled toward stronger positions, rifles trained, eyes scanning, hearts pounding. Tanner's shoulder, though still painful, allowed him to maintain his weapon's aim with Reyes' careful support. Every SEAL understood the stakes any lapse could be fatal. Above them, the sniper remained hidden, a phantom ghosting across the jagged ridge lines. His eyes tracked every insurgent movement, every SEAL maneuver, every fragment of the battlefield below. From this height, he could see the enemy's desperation manifest in jerky, erratic movements, misfires, and panic. He adjusted his position, shifting slightly to maintain cover while lining up his next targets. Each shot was deliberate, eliminating the most threatening enemy combatants first. The SEALs, moving in coordination with these precise strikes, found themselves able to push forward, inch by inch, reclaiming control over the canyon floor that had once trapped them. Jackson assessed the scene as his team advanced. Rocks, boulders, and dust became temporary shields as they moved through the fragmented battlefield. Every SEAL provided cover for one another, each movement choreographed by instinct and training. Reyes continued her tireless efforts, checking Tanner's bandages, ensuring he remained operational, and whispering encouragement. "Keep moving. You're doing great," she murmured under her breath, a thread of calm amid the storm. The team's cohesion, born of countless missions and shared trust, became their lifeline. They moved as one, synchronized with the sniper's rhythm, exploiting every opening created by his precision. A sudden shift of movement caught the sniper's eye. One insurgent attempted to flank the SEALs, climbing a steep outcropping to gain a superior angle. Without hesitation, the sniper fired, the crack of the rifle echoing sharply across the canyon. The insurgent dropped instantly, a stark reminder of the sniper's unseen presence. Panic rippled through the remaining enemy fighters, who now realized they were being hunted from above. Confusion spread like wildfire. The SEALs seized the moment, advancing while the insurgents scrambled to adjust. Every precise shot from above created an opening, every drop of enemy morale a tactical advantage. Dust, smoke, and shattered rock filled the canyon air, making each advance a surreal struggle through the haze. Jackson signaled forward, directing his team to shift positions carefully. Bullets ricocheted off the canyon walls, spitting shards of stone into the air. The SEALs moved methodically, covering each other, suppressing remaining threats, and tending to Tanner. Each SEAL operated with lethal focus, their movements smooth, disciplined, and fluid. The sniper above remained unseen, yet his effect was undeniable. His shots dictated enemy behavior, shaping the battlefield and allowing the SEALs to regain momentum and initiative. The insurgents, now leaderless and confused, attempted to form a defensive perimeter. But their coordination was gone. Panic dictated action. Some fired blindly into the canyon, while others retreated further into rocky cover. The sniper, adjusting for wind and elevation, eliminated key threats, ensuring the SEALs maintained the advantage. Jackson watched the chaos below with a calculated eye. Every misstep by the enemy created opportunity. Every lapse in their defense was another step toward reclaiming the canyon. The SEALs advanced, careful to preserve ammunition, maximize suppression, and stabilize the wounded, synchronized with the sniper's invisible orchestration. Time seemed elastic as the battle stretched onward. The SEALs moved through a landscape both familiar and alien, where shadows twisted, dust thickened, and gunfire echoed unnervingly. Every movement had to be deliberate. Every decision weighed. Tanner, supported by Reyes, crawled toward cover, weapon poised, firing selectively when necessary. Jackson coordinated each advance, assessing terrain, enemy movement, and risk. Above them, the sniper continued to adjust, shifting position imperceptibly, maintaining deadly oversight. Each shot reinforced the SEALs' advantage, creating a rhythm that allowed them to move with greater freedom. Chaos became opportunity. Desperation became a window to advance. One insurgent, more daring than the rest, tried to regain a strategic point on the canyon wall. The sniper's scope tracked him with cold precision. A single round cracked through the air, and the insurgent fell, his body crumpling against the rocks. The remaining fighters panicked further, firing erratically, exposing themselves to the SEALs' precise retaliation. Jackson seized the moment, signaling his team to advance further while continuing to suppress remaining threats. Dust swirled around them, blurring visibility, masking movements, and providing fleeting protection. The canyon, once a death trap, had shifted into a contested battlefield where skill and coordination dictated survival. Corporal Reyes checked Tanner again, ensuring his stability while keeping one eye on the remaining insurgents. "Almost there," she whispered, guiding him toward cover. The SEALs maintained their cohesion, moving as a synchronized unit, each member understanding their role instinctively. Suppressive fire, tactical repositioning, and medical support blended seamlessly. Jackson's commands, brief and precise, guided the team through the chaos. Above, the sniper adjusted constantly, reading enemy behavior, predicting movements, and eliminating the highest threats first. Every shot shifted the momentum further in favor of the SEALs, ensuring that the battle became increasingly manageable despite the canyon's treacherous terrain. The insurgents, disorganized and demoralized, attempted to regroup at scattered intervals. Jackson's team, coordinated with the sniper's intervention, systematically neutralized these attempts. The canyon, echoing with the occasional ricochet, became an environment where precision and patience outweighed brute force. Every SEAL moved in deliberate synchronization, advancing carefully while keeping the injured stable. Tanner, though exhausted and in pain, continued to participate, a testament to resilience and training. Above them, the sniper remained hidden, his influence a silent but undeniable force. Every decision he made, every calculated shot, continued to shift the battlefield decisively in the SEALs' favor. Hours into the battle, the canyon became a chaotic, surreal theater. Dust and smoke hung in the air like clouds, lit intermittently by gunfire. The SEALs advanced in careful bursts, covering each other, securing territory, stabilizing the wounded, and neutralizing threats. The sniper's unseen guidance dictated the rhythm, allowing the team to regain lost ground. Each insurgent eliminated further destabilized enemy cohesion, while the SEALs maintained focus despite fatigue and stress. Jackson's strategic mind processed every angle, every risk, every opportunity. The canyon's deadly embrace had been mitigated by skill, patience, and the phantom sniper above. By mid-afternoon, the SEALs had gained substantial ground. The remaining insurgents were scattered, disorganized, and demoralized. Dust and smoke continued to swirl, reducing visibility and adding to the surreal intensity of the engagement. Jackson assessed his team, ensuring all were stable and ready for further movement. Reyes continued tending to Tanner, adjusting bandages and maintaining his operational capacity. The sniper above, invisible yet omnipresent, continued his meticulous oversight. Each precise shot shaped the battlefield, forcing enemy errors, dictating their behavior, and safeguarding the SEALs below. The tide of battle had irrevocably shifted in favor of the Americans. The canyon, once an inescapable trap, had become a strategic landscape controlled by the SEALs and their unseen ally. Each movement was deliberate, each breath measured, each shot calculated. The sniper's influence had created a rhythm, a pulse that guided the SEALs, synchronized their actions, and maximized their survival. Every insurgent eliminated reinforced the SEALs' momentum, while the hidden marksman remained ghostly and unseen, his identity irrelevant. The canyon floor, once dominated by enemy fire, now reflected the precision, discipline, and coordinated strategy of those determined to survive at all costs. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across jagged rocks, the SEALs continued their cautious advance. Dust, smoke, and debris filled the air, but the team moved with calculated precision. Jackson signaled subtle shifts, directing suppressive fire, advancing wounded, and clearing obstacles. The sniper above remained vigilant, his presence silent yet undeniably effective. The insurgents, leaderless and demoralized, continued to falter under the pressure of calculated, precise strikes. The SEALs, moving in concert with their phantom ally, were steadily reclaiming the canyon floor. Survival, which had once seemed a tenuous hope, now felt within reach, though danger remained omnipresent. By late afternoon, the SEALs had stabilized their position. Enemy fire had decreased to sporadic, panicked bursts. Dust and smoke hung in the canyon like a ghostly curtain, obscuring visibility yet concealing the SEALs' methodical movements. Tanner remained operational, Reyes vigilant, and the rest of the team moved with lethal focus. The sniper above continued to guide the battle silently, ensuring that any remaining threats were minimized and opportunities for movement maximized. The SEALs had turned an almost fatal ambush into a controlled engagement, demonstrating skill, discipline, and the unmatched advantage of having an unseen guardian orchestrating their survival. The canyon, bathed now in the harsher glare of late afternoon sun, was a surreal battlefield of dust, smoke, and shattered rock. The SEALs had fought tirelessly, advancing inch by inch under relentless pressure. Tanner, though still injured, moved with grim determination, his bandaged shoulder a testament to resilience and the care of Corporal Reyes. Each member of the team remained acutely aware that danger had not disappeared. It had merely evolved. They had stabilized the battlefield, but insurgents remained, desperate and dangerous, scattered across the canyon floor and clinging to ridges, waiting for a chance to strike. Lieutenant Jackson surveyed the positions carefully. Every rock, crevice, and boulder had become a tactical variable in the ongoing fight. Dust clouds hung thick in the canyon, reducing visibility. Yet the SEALs had adapted to the obscured battlefield, moving with precision and coordination. Jackson signaled his team forward, emphasizing caution and patience. Suppressive fire maintained pressure on enemy positions, while Reyes assisted Tanner, adjusting bandages and keeping him operational. The rhythm of survival had settled in, but the team knew that extraction would be the most dangerous phase yet. Every second counted, every movement carried risk. High above, the sniper shifted position, melding seamlessly with the jagged rocks, his ghillie suit making him invisible even to the trained eye. From his vantage point, he scanned the canyon floor, noting enemy attempts to regroup, reposition, or mount a flanking attack. Each movement, each rifle flash, each sound was analyzed, catalogued, and calculated. He anticipated threats before they became immediate dangers, neutralizing the most hazardous targets with precision. The SEALs below, though unaware of his exact location, felt the rhythm of his control, the unseen force, dictating enemy movement and creating opportunities for them to maneuver safely. Jackson watched the insurgents' desperate movements. Their leaderless and disorganized ranks attempted to fortify positions along rocky outcrops and narrow ridges, but panic undermined coordination. The sniper, with unerring precision, removed the most threatening figures, first enemy shooters, who could pin down the SEALs or harm the wounded. Each shot destabilized the insurgents further, forcing mistakes that allowed Jackson's team to exploit openings. The canyon, once a deadly ambush zone, had been transformed into a controlled battlefield where patience, discipline, and unseen precision dictated the flow of combat. As SEALs moved forward in measured bursts, using every available rock, shadow, and patch of dust for cover. Suppressive fire from the team synchronized with the sniper's strikes above, creating a lethal, almost invisible dance that kept the enemy off balance. Every SEAL operated at peak performance, muscles taut with fatigue, minds razor-sharp with focus. The rhythm of the fight dictated every step. Advance cautiously, fire selectively, cover the wounded, reclaim territory. Each second survived reinforced their momentum. Every mistake avoided a small victory. The sniper's unseen presence had become the invisible lifeline, keeping them one step ahead. Tanner's bandaged shoulder throbbed with every movement, but his determination never wavered. Reyes adjusted his wraps, murmuring calm encouragement. "We're almost there," she whispered, guiding him toward the next cover point. Jackson signaled for suppressive fire from the remaining SEALs while planning their next advance. The enemy, fragmented and terrified, fired sporadically, their attempts to regain control ineffective and poorly coordinated. Every misstep was punished by the sniper above, every poorly timed move creating an opening for the SEALs to exploit. The team's progress, though painstaking, was relentless. Suddenly, movement along a high ridge caught the sniper's attention. An insurgent attempted to gain a superior position to target the SEALs or their wounded. With calculated precision, he fired, the round striking true. The insurgent fell, his body sliding down the rocky incline. Panic intensified among the remaining fighters, their attempts at coordinated defense unraveling entirely. Jackson recognized the moment as pivotal. "Forward slowly," he signaled. The SEALs advanced under the cover of the sniper's intervention, reclaiming lost ground and reducing enemy threats systematically. The rhythm of their progress was now inextricably tied to the invisible guardian above. Hours had passed since the ambush began. The SEALs, though exhausted, maintained operational efficiency. Dust and smoke filled the canyon, masking their movements while limiting enemy visibility. Every action, each shot fired, each step taken was deliberate, synchronized, and critical. Jackson assessed terrain, enemy behavior, and extraction points. The sniper above continuously readjusted, shifting subtly to account for wind, light, and the enemy's erratic movement. His influence was the difference between survival and disaster. Below, the SEALs pressed forward methodically, consolidating gains and preparing for the next phase, withdrawal to a safer extraction point. As the afternoon sun climbed higher, the canyon walls radiated heat, intensifying fatigue among both SEALs and enemy forces. The insurgents' desperation increased, their movements frantic and disorganized. The sniper, calculating each threat, removed the most dangerous targets with surgical precision, ensuring the SEALs retained the advantage. Jackson's team, synchronized with the sniper's unseen guidance, advanced strategically, securing cover and maintaining momentum. Every moment of hesitation was exploited by the sniper's calculated strikes, forcing enemy mistakes that opened paths for the SEALs. The canyon, once a deadly trap, now reflected the precision and discipline of their coordinated efforts. Reyes continued to monitor Tanner's condition while signaling the team forward. Tanner, though fatigued and in pain, remained engaged, a testament to resilience, training, and the will to survive. Jackson coordinated every move, balancing aggression with caution. Suppressive fire maintained pressure while the team advanced, reclaiming ground methodically. The sniper above, hidden from view, dictated the flow of combat with lethal efficiency. Each shot reinforced the SEAL's advantage, creating openings, destabilizing the enemy, and ensuring that survival remained achievable despite the canyon's deadly terrain. The rhythm of battle had shifted, and the team pressed forward with renewed determination. The insurgents attempted to consolidate along a jagged rock ledge. Jackson watched, calculating. The sniper's precise intervention had left the enemy scattered and demoralized, but a few pockets of resistance remained. The SEALs adjusted, coordinating suppressive fire and tactical repositioning. Dust clouds swirled, partially concealing their movements. Every step, every shot, every gesture carried weight. The sniper continued his oversight, ensuring that remaining threats were minimized. The SEALs, coordinated, precise, and disciplined, pressed forward while protecting the injured and consolidating gains. Slowly, the canyon shifted from ambush zone to controlled battlefield under their combined skill. A sudden burst of enemy fire erupted from a small ledge, targeting the SEALs' rear flank. Jackson reacted instantly, signaling suppressive fire while moving the team forward to safer cover. The sniper, observing from above, adjusted his aim, taking out the insurgent with a single, precise shot. Chaos rippled through the remaining fighters as they realized their positional advantage had been neutralized. Jackson's team advanced with cautious momentum, using the distraction to gain ground and consolidate positions. Every movement synchronized with the sniper's unseen strikes, ensuring the SEAL's survival and creating a pathway toward extraction. By late afternoon, the SEALs had regained significant control of the canyon floor. Enemy forces were scattered, leaderless, and demoralized. Dust and smoke hung in the air, partially obscuring the battlefield but providing concealment for further advancement. Tanner remained stable and operational under Reyes' care, the rest of the team coordinated and vigilant. Jackson assessed terrain and enemy positions, preparing for the final push toward a safer extraction point. The sniper above, ghostly and unseen, continued to dictate the flow of combat with precision. Each shot created opportunities, destabilized the enemy, and protected the SEALs from hidden threats. The canyon, once a lethal trap, had become a controlled environment where skill, strategy, and precision dictated survival. Every movement, every shot, every decision was critical. The sniper's unseen influence shaped the battlefield, forcing enemy mistakes and creating safe passage for the SEALs. Jackson's team moved in unison, consolidating gains, tending to wounded, and preparing for extraction. The rhythm of the battle, dictated by both human skill and unseen precision, ensured that survival was no longer tenuous but achievable. The SEALs, coordinated and disciplined, pressed onward, inching closer to safety with every calculated step. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the SEALs had secured key positions within the canyon. Enemy fire had diminished to sporadic, ineffective bursts. Dust and smoke lingered in the fading light, creating an eerie, otherworldly battlefield. Jackson ensured all team members remained operational, stabilizing the wounded and preparing for extraction. The sniper, hidden on the ridge, continued his watch, ensuring no residual threats could disrupt the team's withdrawal. The SEALs had turned a near-fatal ambush into a controlled engagement. Survival was no longer a hope. It was a tangible, carefully orchestrated reality, thanks to discipline, coordination, and the silent guardian above. The canyon's shadows stretched long as the late afternoon sun dipped lower, casting jagged silhouettes across the battle-scarred terrain. Dust hung in the air, settling slowly over shattered rocks and smoldering patches where firefights had erupted hours earlier. The SEALs had clawed their way forward with painstaking precision, but the extraction was still far from secure. Lieutenant Jackson's eyes scanned constantly, noting enemy positions, potential escape routes, and any signs of reinforcements. Tanner's shoulder, though stabilized by Corporal Reyes, throbbed with every movement. Yet he refused to be sidelined, weapon-trained, eyes sharp, determination unwavering. Every step they took was measured, deliberate, calculated. The insurgents, desperate and demoralized, were now reduced to sporadic, chaotic fire. Panic had replaced strategy. Fear had replaced discipline. But in the canyon, fear was still deadly. Jackson's team moved as one, each member covering the others, advancing under a careful rhythm of suppressive fire, tactical repositioning, and constant assessment. Dust and smoke created fleeting concealment, masking movements from enemy fire, but the SEALs had learned to navigate this surreal haze. The sniper above, hidden from view, continued to dictate the battlefield, picking off the most dangerous insurgents with surgical precision, shaping the canyon into a corridor of survival. Jackson signaled a subtle shift. The remaining insurgents had taken cover behind jagged boulders and cliff ledges, hoping to regroup, hoping to reclaim some semblance of advantage. The sniper, perched on a distant ridge, anticipated these movements before they happened. With careful adjustments for wind, angle, and distance, he eliminated threats preemptively. Each shot created a ripple of chaos among the enemy ranks, forcing them to reposition or risk exposure. The SEALs, moving in concert with this invisible guidance, advanced slowly but relentlessly, reclaiming territory and steadily clearing the canyon of imminent danger. Tanner crawled toward cover, every motion sending jolts of pain through his injured shoulder. Reyes whispered encouragement, adjusting his bandages and ensuring he remained operational. "Just a little further, Tanner. Keep going," she urged, voice calm but firm, cutting through the chaos. Jackson coordinated the team's suppressive fire, providing intermittent cover while assessing enemy movement. Every shot fired, every step taken, every decision was critical. The canyon demanded absolute focus, precision, and teamwork. Above them, the sniper continued his silent orchestration, unseen but undeniable, each calculated strike reinforcing the SEAL's progress. Suddenly, a sharp movement caught Jackson's eye. A group of insurgents attempting to flank from a high ridge, likely unaware of the sniper above. He signaled the team, adjusting positions, suppressive fire shifting to counter the new threat. The sniper, anticipating the maneuver, fired with unerring accuracy, eliminating the most dangerous of the group. The remaining insurgents faltered, their morale collapsing further under relentless pressure. Jackson seized the opportunity, signaling his team forward, inch by inch, reclaiming ground while neutralizing scattered threats. Dust and smoke swirled around them, masking movements and providing fleeting cover as the team pressed onward. The canyon, once a lethal trap, had become a theater of controlled engagement. Every movement was deliberate, every shot purposeful. The SEAL's rhythm synchronized with the sniper's precise strikes above. Each insurgent eliminated reduced threats and opened pathways for the team to advance. Tanner, still wounded but resolute, followed Rey's guidance, every motion painful yet purposeful. Jackson coordinated the team's advance like a seasoned conductor, each gesture orchestrating a delicate balance of aggression, caution, and tactical foresight. The sniper remained unseen, a ghost shaping the flow of battle with precision and deadly timing. Hours of firefight had worn on both sides. Fatigue weighed heavily on the SEALs, yet adrenaline and training maintained focus. Jackson assessed the canyon floor, noting the remaining pockets of resistance. The insurgents, disorganized and leaderless, attempted to maintain a defensive perimeter, but panic dictated their movements. The sniper, calculating every trajectory, eliminated the most dangerous fighters first, preventing the SEALs from being pinned. Dust, smoke, and shadows blended into a chaotic, surreal environment, yet the SEALs moved with disciplined efficiency. Each step forward brought them closer to potential extraction. Each shot fired reinforced control over the battlefield. Suddenly, a distant crack of automatic fire erupted from a concealed ledge. One of the SEALs ducked instinctively as the bullets ricocheted off rocks. Jackson's eyes narrowed, assessing the threat. He signaled suppressive fire, while the sniper above already anticipated the insurgents' position. With a single precise shot, the hidden marksman neutralized the threat, sending the remaining insurgents into deeper panic. The rhythm of battle shifted again, favoring the SEALs' methodical advance. Every action, every shot, every step was synchronized, either directly or indirectly, with the sniper's lethal guidance from above. Tanner, grimacing through pain, crawled toward relative cover, weapon-trained, ready to fire when necessary. Reyes supported him, offering both physical and psychological reinforcement. Jackson coordinated tactical suppression, moving the team toward safer terrain while continuing to clear remaining threats. The insurgents, aware they were losing control, attempted one last desperate surge, moving between rocks to regroup. The sniper calculated each trajectory, removing threats before they could execute their maneuvers. Chaos became a controlled dance of life and death, orchestrated invisibly from above, allowing the SEALs to press forward with renewed determination. As late afternoon bled into early evening, Jackson knew extraction was near, but not guaranteed. Enemy positions, though weakened, still presented danger. Dust hung thick in the canyon, and visibility was limited, but the team had adapted, moving with stealth, precision, and discipline. The sniper above, maintaining lethal oversight, ensured that the SEALs could maneuver safely, every shot a calculated act of protection. Jackson signaled a pause, consolidating positions, checking on Tanner, and ensuring every member was ready for the final push. Each second of delay carried risk, but careful patience was critical for survival. Then came a sudden movement. A small group of insurgents attempted a bold counterattack, charging toward the SEALs from a narrow crevice. Jackson's team reacted instantly, suppressive fire cutting down the lead fighters. The sniper, anticipating the maneuver, eliminated the most dangerous targets with rapid precision. Panic consumed the remaining insurgents, their desperation evident. Jackson's team pressed forward, reclaiming lost ground with cautious efficiency. Dust and smoke swirled, bullets ricocheted, and the air vibrated with tension, but the SEALs moved with a combination of instinct, discipline, and the unseen sniper's lethal intervention. Corporal Reyes checked Tanner again, adjusting bandages and ensuring he remained combat effective. Tanner fired selectively, taking down any threats within reach despite pain and fatigue. Jackson coordinated every movement, guiding suppressive fire, tactical shifts, and medical support with meticulous precision. The sniper above adjusted subtly for wind and trajectory, maintaining coverage and eliminating threats that could disrupt the SEALs' final push toward extraction. Every shot, every gesture, every movement was a coordinated act in a deadly dance dictated by skill, training, and invisible oversight. The insurgents, now leaderless and fractured, attempted one final stand near a cluster of boulders. Jackson signaled suppressive fire while advancing carefully, using dust, smoke, and natural cover. The sniper, from his unseen perch, removed the most threatening figures with unerring precision, forcing the remaining insurgents into panic. The SEALs, synchronized with the sniper's interventions, pressed forward methodically, inching closer to extraction. Every action reinforced their advantage. Every misstep by the enemy compounded their desperation. The canyon floor, once dominated by ambush, had shifted to controlled survival under the guidance of experience and unseen intervention. Hours of fighting, precision shooting, and careful coordination had turned what began as a near-fatal ambush into a controlled engagement. Dust and smoke created a surreal, tense environment, but the SEALs moved with lethal focus, suppressing threats, stabilizing the wounded, and clearing paths toward extraction. Tanner remained operational, guided by Reyes, while Jackson coordinated every step with the precision of a battle-hardened leader. Above, the sniper continued his invisible oversight, shaping the battlefield with calculated shots, predicting enemy movement, and safeguarding the SEALs from unseen threats. Each action brought them closer to survival and extraction. By evening, the SEALs had secured a defensible position near the canyon's edge. Enemy fire had diminished to sporadic, disorganized bursts. Dust and smoke lingered, shadows stretched, and the canyon's jagged walls reflected the golden glow of the setting sun. Jackson ensured his team remained alert, ready for any last attempts by the enemy to disrupt their withdrawal. Tanner, though exhausted and in pain, remained operational under Reyes' care. The sniper, hidden yet omnipresent, continued his deadly oversight, ensuring the SEALs could maintain control until extraction. The ambush that had threatened their lives had been transformed into a scenario of calculated survival, made possible by coordination, skill, and invisible support. The canyon was quiet now, a deceptive calm settling over the battlefield as the sun dipped toward the horizon. Shadows stretched long across shattered rocks, dust and smoke still hanging in the air like a lingering warning. The SEALs had fought relentlessly for hours, clawing their way through the chaos of ambush, fire, and terror. Tanner, his shoulder still throbbing, remained operational thanks to Reyes' diligent care. Each step toward extraction was measured, deliberate, and tense. Every movement carried the weight of survival. Jackson's eyes never left the canyon rim, scanning for threats, anticipating any resurgence of enemy activity. Above, a sniper remained invisible, perched like a ghost against the jagged rocks. His scope tracked the canyon floor, calculating trajectories, measuring wind and light, predicting movements with unnerving precision. Any remaining insurgents attempting to disrupt the SEALs' withdrawal would be met with fatal accuracy. The sniper had become more than a marksman. He was the silent architect of survival, dictating the rhythm of the battlefield with each shot. Below, the SEALs moved in careful unison, synchronized with the sniper's invisible strikes, inching ever closer to the extraction point. Jackson signaled for final positioning near a narrow ridge that offered relative cover and a viable evacuation path. Dust swirled with each movement, creating temporary concealment for the team while keeping visibility low for the remaining enemy. Suppressive fire covered every advance, ensuring that any insurgent daring to move was quickly neutralized. Reyes guided Tanner, ensuring he remained combat-ready despite exhaustion and pain. Every SEAL knew the stakes. One misstep now could undo hours of painstaking effort. Every action required focus, coordination, and trust in one another. Suddenly, movement from a rocky outcrop drew Jackson's attention. A small group of insurgents had survived, attempting one last desperate counterattack to reclaim some measure of control. Jackson reacted instantly, signaling the SEALs to suppress while the sniper, anticipating the maneuver, eliminated the most dangerous fighters with precision. Panic swept through the insurgents as the remaining combatants faltered under pressure. Jackson ordered a cautious push forward, reclaiming the area and ensuring that the SEALs maintained the advantage. Dust and smoke masked the team's movements, but the sniper's unseen presence ensured that no threat could go unchecked. The SEALs advanced steadily, covering one another while moving Tanner toward relative safety. Reyes whispered constant encouragement, adjusting bandages and stabilizing him. Jackson orchestrated suppressive fire, tactical shifts, and protective maneuvers with meticulous precision. The canyon, once a trap filled with chaos and terror, had been transformed into a controlled theater of survival. The sniper above, invisible yet omnipresent, continued to dictate the flow of combat, removing threats before they could endanger the team. Every shot, every movement, every breath was part of a calculated rhythm that ensured survival. By twilight, the remaining insurgents were scattered, demoralized, and leaderless. Their sporadic fire was ineffective and poorly coordinated. Jackson's team moved as a cohesive unit, securing cover, tending to the wounded, and advancing toward extraction points. Tanner, though weary and in pain, continued to fight alongside his teammates, a testament to resilience and training. Every SEAL functioned with lethal efficiency, covering for one another, anticipating threats, and exploiting openings created by the sniper above. The canyon, once a deadly trap, now reflected control, discipline, and the precision of coordinated effort. Extraction was the final challenge. Helicopter support was scheduled to arrive at a narrow plateau, accessible only by a precarious path through the canyon. Jackson led his team cautiously toward the route, constantly scanning for any last-minute threats. Dust and debris kicked up around them, shadows stretching unnaturally as the light faded. Suppressive fire covered their movements, neutralizing isolated enemy combatants. Reyes ensured Tanner remained stable, guiding him across the treacherous terrain. The SEALs advanced in careful synchrony, the rhythm of their movement dictated as much by training as by the invisible guidance of the sniper perched high above. Suddenly, a flash of movement from a cliffside ridge signaled danger. Jackson froze, assessing the angle. The sniper, anticipating the threat, fired precisely, eliminating the insurgent before any harm could come to the team. Panic swept through the remaining enemy fighters as they realized the SEALs had a lethal unseen ally. Jackson signaled forward, the team moving swiftly but cautiously, keeping Tanner protected while securing each step toward the extraction zone. Dust and smoke cloaked their movements, while the sniper's calculated strikes ensured they were never caught off guard. The helicopter's distant thrum grew louder, a signal of salvation. Jackson coordinated the final approach, ensuring all SEALs moved in formation, covering each other while minimizing exposure. Every step required careful attention. One wrong move could result in disaster. The sniper remained vigilant, scanning for threats, adjusting position, and neutralizing any insurgent attempting to interfere. Each shot reinforced the team's momentum, guiding them safely toward the extraction point. The canyon, once a lethal ambush zone, had been transformed into a path of controlled survival through skill, discipline, and unseen support. As the SEALs neared the plateau, they encountered sporadic resistance from scattered insurgents. Jackson signaled suppressive fire, while Reyes guided Tanner, ensuring he remained combat capable. The sniper's final shots neutralized the remaining threats, clearing the path for the team. Dust and smoke swirled, shadows deepened, and adrenaline coursed through every member of the SEAL team. They moved with precision, their actions synchronized with both training and the invisible rhythm imposed by the sniper above. Every step brought them closer to safety. Every shot ensured their survival. The helicopter descended, its rotors chopping the air, stirring dust and debris. Jackson signaled his team to form a protective perimeter as they approached the landing zone. The SEALs moved in a tight formation, covering one another, while ensuring Tanner was ready to board. The sniper observed from above, his scope scanning for any last-minute threats. A few remaining insurgents attempted to intervene, but were neutralized before they could pose a danger. Jackson's team advanced methodically, maintaining discipline, suppressive fire, and vigilance until they were within reach of the helicopter. Finally, the SEALs reached the landing zone. The helicopter's rear ramp lowered, its engine thrumming loudly against the canyon walls. Jackson led the team forward, covering every step while ensuring Tanner remained steady. Reyes continued her support, whispering calm instructions. Every member of the SEAL team moved with practiced efficiency, aware that even a single misstep could be fatal. The sniper, perched silently above, maintained vigilance until every SEAL had safely boarded. Each shot had dictated the flow of the battle, shaping the canyon into a controlled environment for survival. Once aboard, Jackson took one last glance at the canyon. Dust, smoke, and shadows cloaked the battlefield, a silent testament to hours of lethal struggle. The insurgents, leaderless and demoralized, remained scattered below, unable to contest the extraction. The helicopter lifted, carrying the SEALs away from the deadly terrain, their survival a testament to skill, coordination, and the unseen guardian who had shaped their path from above. Tanner exhaled, exhaustion and relief mingling, while Reyes checked him one final time, ensuring stability. Jackson acknowledged the team's cohesion, resilience, and focus under extreme pressure. The sniper, still perched high above, remained invisible against the jagged rocks. His task complete, he finally allowed himself a brief breath, knowing the SEALs had survived against impossible odds. He had been the unseen hand guiding every move, every step, every shot. From above, the canyon's deadly silence seemed almost serene compared to the chaos of hours earlier. The SEALs' extraction was flawless. The ambush turned into a story of survival through skill, coordination, and lethal precision. As the helicopter flew toward safety, the canyon below remained a testament to their courage and the hidden marksmen who had ensured their survival. Back at base, the SEALs disembarked, tired but alive. Tanner was stabilized further, the team debriefed, and Jackson filed reports detailing the ambush and their extraction. Yet each member knew the silent partner who had guided them remained unknown, a ghost in the mountains whose skill had turned near-certain death into survival. The story of the canyon would become legend among their unit, how the ambush that could have killed them all had been transformed by a hidden sniper, a phantom shaping every move, every shot, and every chance of life. Courage, coordination, and invisible precision had triumphed as night fell over the rugged terrain. The canyon returned to quiet. The dust settled, the smoke dissipated, and shadows stretched long over jagged rocks. The SEALs rested, recuperating from the ordeal, while the sniper silently retreated into the mountains, a ghost among peaks and ridges, unseen, anonymous, yet profoundly impactful. The ambush was over, survival achieved, and the rhythm of the battlefield restored to silence. Every action had been critical, every decision measured, every shot precise. The SEALs had survived the impossible, guided by their training, teamwork, and an invisible hand from above.